For the most part, all of us spend a lifetime working really hard to bring in money. But the people who are the smart ones are the ones that bring in other people to help them to where the money they've earned can continue to earn money on its own, and we don't have to work anymore because our money is being taken care of by a professional. It's exactly where we are today. We're going to talk a little bit about financial planning and a whole lot about some other things as well. The name of the company we're chatting with today is Encore FFS, Mr. Encore himself, and our guest, Michael Hatter, right here on the show. Hey, Michael, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. You know, I did one of those wow moments when I was looking at the notes on you. As an independent financial advisor, is it true that you represent over 1,000 different companies? Can that be a fact?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we always strive to make sure we have the best fit for our clients.
Well, you know, I like that. I'm going to tell you why, because too many times in life, we as consumers, and I'm not just talking about your field, we work with somebody, they're a one-trick pony, and they spend all their time convincing us that what they have is exactly what they need, what we need when it isn't. But a man like you that has 1,000 different options, I have no doubt you're able to put together something that's personally valuable just to me. So I'm ready to get into this. This is going to be a lot of fun. You know, so many people worry about so many things when retirement comes along. One of the bigger issues, and this has been going on for a long time, I got more than a few years on you, but people have been worrying this for a while. Is Social Security still going to be around? Is it almost done?
Great question. You know, when Social Security was first established, there were 30 people contributing to every one person that was taking a benefit. You know, today that ratio is 3-to-1. And the reality of it is that our country is in a heavy debt right now, near $27 trillion. And, you know, the Social Security Fund it had a lot of questions about it. It's actually scheduled to be insolvent in 2027 if there's no legislation that's done by the government. I believe it's going to be around. It's been around for a lot of years, but will it pay at what people expect it to pay is a real question.
Oh my goodness gracious! We're gonna start off on that note, are we? Well, it's something we all need to know. You can't avoid it, but frankly, a lot of people, their number one concern in life as they get older is, am I going to outlive my money? That's one of the big things you have to deal with. With all the things you do, how are you able to help people to make sure that they're not going to outlive their money? They're going to have enough to get by through their retirement years.
Yeah, and that's one thing that people love about Social Security is that when they do get the benefit, it's for the rest of their life. There's vehicles in place that can afford people the opportunity to have lifetime income, along with some of the investments that they have. It's just that most people are unfamiliar with these type of products and services that are available today. Because the reality of it is, as Americans, we're living longer. We're living longer than we've ever lived before. And we need to make sure that our money can last for the rest of our lives. And again, there are vehicles and products that can do that most people are just unaware of.
You know, unfortunately, when we reach our retirement years, inflation doesn't stop. We end up on a fixed income, but money stays the same coming in, but the money going out continues to rise, not the least of which is healthcare costs. Healthcare costs have just been going up and up and up forever. Is that going to be the case forever? And if so, can you help people along the way to be able to compensate and take care of these rising healthcare costs?
Absolutely. I think one of the bigger issues for most people is rising healthcare costs because the reality of it is a good thing is we're living longer, but there's another side to that in that, you know, a lot of times we get ailments, we get sick and things come up, you know, in our life. And there are products and services that are available today that most people are unfamiliar with that can aid, you know, in that process to make sure that, because, you know, in retirement, the number one thing that really kind of slows down the retirement bucket, I should say, is medical costs. And if we don't prepare for it, if people are not prepared for something that potentially could happen on the medical side, it could be devastating for their retirement accounts.
Catastrophic, I think, is the word we're both trying not to say, but it's the one that needs to be said. Catastrophic issues absolutely, unfortunately, happen. We all know people who have been through that, and you need to be planning on the front end. You know, one question I always like to ask professionals like you is this. too many times in life, people wait until they're my age to ever pick up the phone to call Michael in the first place. Meanwhile, people in their 20s just getting started, we're all bulletproof in our 20s, Michael. We're never going to get old. We're never going to get sick. We're never going to retire. We don't have to worry about it. How do you go about educating the youngsters, if you will, that, hey, you need to listen to me today because you're not going to want to hear what I have to say 30 years from now? How do you get this age group on board with you?
Yeah, great question. I'll give you a quick story. When my mother retired, she was fortunate to retire at age 53. So she retired, she had a 401k, she had a pension, and life was good. 5 years later, after my mother retired, she literally ran out of money from her 401k account. And the number one thing that my mother always tells me is that, Michael, I wish I had saved more money. And I've talked to a lot of retirees, and no one has ever told me I saved enough for retirement. And that's the biggest thing, takeaway that I actually learned from my mother, is that the earlier that you save, accumulation with your dollars and your retirement dollars specifically is a very powerful thing. And as time goes by, the years seem like they're long years away, 10, 20, 30 years from retirement. But I tell you, Brian, that time goes by fast. And the sooner, the better for most people. And a general rule of thumb is 10%. So let's say, for example, that someone's in their 20s, their 30s, and they make, let's say, $30,000. 10% of that is $3,000, or 10%, I should say, of their income is what would be adequate for them to have a great retirement. So it's not that much, but the earlier, the better is the big lesson there.
You know, you said you've never talked to anyone that said they saved too much for retirement. I bet you never talked to anyone that said, you know, I started saving too early. That probably doesn't happen. That probably doesn't happen either. You know, right along there with the rise in health costs, taxes continue to go up. Taxes all over the board. Again, you have your fixed income, but taxes continue to rise during retirement. Are there tools that you can help us put in place to be able to be ready to compensate for the rise in taxes as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the first questions that I typically get when I'm talking to people that are looking forward to retiring is about taxes, because the reality of it is we have one of our lowest tax rates in our country's history today. However, most people have to plan for retirement and obviously the years beyond that. Our country today is, like I said, nearly $27 trillion in debt. And there's only one way in which our government takes in revenue, and that's through taxation. So the plans in place today, you have to consider escalating or rising taxes. As a matter of fact, the tax rate is going to start going up in 2026. The previous administration lowered our taxes in 2017, and there's a sunset clause in there for individuals. Again, that starts in 2026, and most people don't even know about it. And this could impact their retirement and how they plan for retirement adversely. So it's something that they should definitely consider, and that is a big part of the retirement planning process is taxes.
Well, Michael, I must say this. In all modesty, I'm a relatively smart guy, but in the 9 minutes that you and I have been chatting today, you mentioned 3 things that I'd never heard of before. So all that to say is this. People, you need to jump on board with a professional when it comes to getting ready for retirement. You're not going to be able to keep up, but a man like Michael's been doing this for years. This is all he does. Let him keep up with everything on your behalf. Michael, I got about 30 seconds left. One piece of advice you want to leave us with?
Oh, absolutely. Get in contact with a retirement specialist. This is the key. A lot of times it doesn't. Most people they want to do the right things. They're contributing. But like I always say, it's better to have a couple sets of eyeballs, on those finances than not. Like, if we went to the doctor and we had cancer, he might get a second opinion. So
great advice, Michael. At the end of the day, you can't do it all alone, folks. Bring in a pro. They're there to help you. Use them. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Keep taking care of people.
All right. Thank you.